Alright, you guys, welcome back to Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 3, Chin Check. We start off with some filler scenes, and it shows Angie with her husband picking new homes, Ashley working out, boring, and Stacey and Arabella practicing, I guess, to be in pageants. And at this point, Stacey still has not told Arabella about her and her father possibly rekindling their marriage. However, Arabella looks adorable. I think she'll crush in at pageants. She got it. She may just be able to do it. In the next scene, we then get to see Wendy and Kierna meet up by the pier to discuss who's hosting which event, and Kierna then brings up the issue at the Bloom Ball of Wendy dismissing her at other events. At this point, Kierna, you're just dragging it now, honey. I mean, the whole thing is juvenile, and I just don't understand how this makes you that mad. Now, yes, you've supported each other during things, but this shouldn't bring this much anger and this much hostility about Wendy speaking at an event and she didn't stop to say hi to you. However, both of the ladies bring up how they both don't like Giselle, or they're asking each other, do you even like Giselle? And it's pretty obvious y'all don't, but y'all just want to be in the end clique. Other than the fact that Giselle's an OG, what possible reason would you have to like this woman? Well, actually, Wendy to like this woman, because I haven't seen Giselle go after Kierna at all. Now, Kierna thinks that Wendy is a TV friend. I don't know how, because even though y'all having this argument, you don't feel heard and you get up to storm off. Y'all were seen trotting down the street laughing and giggling together. Child, Kierna, let it go. You're not that mad. You just need a highlighted moment. Okay, now you have it. Can we let this go? In this next scene, we get to see Angel and her family, her dad, her husband, her child, as they begin to discuss their mom and her passing. They then discuss wonderful moments of the mom and how she impacted the family. Angel then discusses the sound bath event and how Giselle brought up the issue between Angel and Kierna with the chin check comment, and how she was disappointed in Kierna. Now, I'm not sure, but this is just my neck of the woods. This is my spot. Chin check is serious. You don't say you chin check somebody. You say, I just had to get it together right quick. But I think Kierna used the wrong words at the wrong time. But I also don't like how Kierna is handling it. Honey, just say you said it. I misspoke. I said the wrong words. And that's it. That's all you have to say. Angel does say that she wants to have a deeper conversation with Kierna about the comment. But we'll see how that goes, because Kierna is just offended at everything that everybody does at this point. Now, in our next scene, we see Stacey, and she's showing up to lunch with a friend, and that friend is no other than Jazzy from last year, who wasn't really around. She really didn't film too much, so that's why they brought in Kierna, or they make Kierna a full housewife. Now, Stacey explains that her and Jazzy got close during Mia's birthday party in Miami, and Mia ditched them, so they just ended up hanging out and they got close. And Jazzy is also set to be married. Congrats to her. They both discussed the Preakness event coming up and how Wendy is going to host it, and Jazzy should join the girls at Kierna's house to go to the pregame at Kierna's house and then go to the Preakness. Now, Stacey also discusses her lying issues and how she has to prove herself to Ashley and Giselle. Now, even though I don't agree with Stacey lying, you ain't got to prove nothing to Ashley or Giselle. Both of those women were with questionable husbands. Why are we even questioning this at a point? Just Stacey, shut it down. Ashley and Giselle both went back to those devious men and then left them again. So you don't need to explain nothing. They don't need no excuse or no explanation. Child, I'm back with my husband. Now what? Get over it. So then Stacey drops a little tea. Stacey finds out that Giselle has been lying as well, and she has a man, and supposedly he's an ex-NFL player named Sean Springs. Now, I don't know who he is, but he do look good, and we all know Giselle got a type. She like him chocolate. In this next scene, we get to see Tia's home, her home life, her kids, her teens. We can already tell that they are a lot, but they're cute. Tia then begins to discuss the cultural differences between her upbringing and how she's bringing up her family now. It looks like the dynamic is off to me, because it sounds like they don't listen to the husband. He's the nice guy, and mom is the warden. So when she goes off, when she flies off the handle, everybody then gets up and moves. They also start to discuss between splitting up responsibilities, and I can agree with what they're saying. I'm glad they're trying to make it work for the kids, because most parents kind of just go on their own accord and even forget that they have to set a schedule for themselves as well as their children. We then see Giselle and Tia show up to a clothing store of Giselle's choosing. I'm gonna leave it at that. And as the other ladies are showing up, Giselle is discussing how the ladies aren't getting along anymore, and she's gonna plan a trip. Now I forgot what island she said, but it's in the Caribbean. But Giselle wants to bring back the fun to the group. Angel then asks Wendy how was the talk with Kierna. Wendy feels as it went good. It looked good to me. Like I said, they were walking off in the sunset, still laughing and giggling. And Wendy explained her side and Case explained her side. And then Giselle chimes in, to say how when Wendy questioned Kierna's makeup, that was the issue. And as I get Wendy, she probably asked it because it looked that good. And it may have came out wrong. And I guess it came out wrong to the other ladies. I think many meant good. Giselle then asks Angel how was her and Kay's relationship and were they good before going on the trip. Angel stands firm in supporting Kierna and her feelings on the situation of the chin check comment. Now, further down the line, we get to see Angel express a bit more because they cut it out for the filming, but we'll get there. Now, we finally get to the pre-event before the Preakness, and we see Kay and Greg running around her condo getting ready. Now, Stacy shows up first, and of course, Kay is a bit overdramatic in her explanation, but I feel like, Kierna, I feel like you brought on that issue between you and Stacy. You were trying so hard. Like, we know she's a liar, but you were trying so hard to press her like you didn't need to do any of that. Like, I know you're trying to make your stamp on this show, but you're doing just too much. As the other ladies arrive, I gave Giselle a comment in my last video, and now, Giselle, what are you wearing? You just threw some stuff together with a flower on your head. But Giselle tells the other ladies about planning and hosting a trip in the Caribbean, and as the other ladies begin to arrive, they sit down and eat. So as Angel arrives last and the ladies are beginning to eat, Giselle then asks why did the pregame party was thrown by Kay and is right before Wendy's event. And as Kierna begins to explain, I'm just sitting there, Kierna, you don't have to be in competition with Wendy. Yes, Wendy's throwing the event. What now? Don't you throw events too? Like, what is the problem with Wendy throwing the event? It's not Wendy being first. It's just Wendy throwing the event. And like Wendy said, you don't need to throw constant jabs, or you don't constantly need to have a problem with her. And of course, as the conversation continues, even the other ladies are confused as to Kay's ways. Like, what is your real issue with Wendy besides her being dismissive? That's not a real issue for anybody to be this upset and to have constant issues with somebody. And then what blows me about the conversation is you started and then now you want to end it to have fun. So what you bring it up for? We could never even talked about it. And then here we go. Giselle finna chime in with her messiness. Giselle then brings up how Angel stated that Kay doubled back on her chin check comment, saying that she didn't say it after she apologized, to which Giselle thinks it makes her look like a liar. Angel then says that she wasn't calling Giselle a liar, but that she wasn't thinking or believing that Kay would say something like that about her, to which she mentioned how it made her feel. Kay apologizes again and states that she did in fact say the chin check comment. Now Wendy starts to say that her attitude was totally different than it was from in the store, and how Angel brought up when Kierna was hit in the forehead by Ashley's friend Deborah, and how the ladies wanted her to mirror the same attitude. Now I'm going to say this. I get what Wendy was saying, keep that same energy. But however, if this is my friend, I am going to take a few minutes or a few days to think about what she said and how she said it and how it made me feel. I could come back with a totally different energy because that's my friend. But if you're not my friend, I will keep the same energy. And I definitely feel like Angel's new attitude, she's entitled to that. She's entitled to change her mind. Kierna then states that Angel is entitled to her opinion and her feelings of how things can get misconstrued within the group. But I'm with Kierna on this part too. Cut all that back talking behind my back. If you still feel away, then tell me. You don't have to bring it to the group and then calm down later. Just tell me right there. But Angel then wants to bring up to Wendy how she wants to discuss her attitude. And then, of course, Kay chimes in and shouts out that if Angel actually likes Wendy. We all know that this was just a get back for Kierna because they were talking behind her and she thought Angel was better than that. Kieran, if this was your real long-time friend, you could have kept that comment to yourself and just would have taken her on the balcony. Now, as Angel begins to struggle through her answers, she answers Wendy's question, but she doesn't like being called fake. And of course, Kieran, in her feelings, still is shouting out, well, you know what? That is fake. And through all of that, Angie still explains that she's had a moment of clarity after sleeping on the issue. And once again, Angel is entitled to that. I don't understand why she's fake because she decided to calm down and check her emotions before just flying off the handle like Kieran is doing. Everything doesn't have to be confrontational. Everything doesn't have to be aggressive. Giselle then announces, everybody get out your frustrations now because we're about to head on out to the event. And before the event, before the ladies leave out, Greg passes out some money. And yes, Greg, please make it rain before I leave with these crazy women. I'm with Tia. He dropped the money right at the right moment. Now, as they all get in the Sprinter, they popping open some champagne, and then of course Angel still feels a kind of way, and Giselle asks, and that's when we see Kieran explain that her aggressiveness sometimes is just because she cares about the person. To a point, I can understand that, but you have to learn how to handle it different, Kieran. Stacey then brings up Kieran's issue because she thinks that Kieran is speaking a lot of BS because their friendship isn't great and they don't get to know each other, and how Kieran has never really invited Stacey anywhere. I mean, Stacey, you like lying, and Kieran likes to have a problem with you, so that's not going to look good. But the conversation goes on. The two ladies begin to spat. Everybody's throwing jabs and digs and shade at each other. And of course, Stacey and her feelings is taking it way too left, way too rough. You did not need to mention Kieran's forehead incident, her injury. You didn't need to mention it. And the episode ends on that. Now, of course, we start to see clips of the new episode, but y'all tell me what you thought about this episode as well. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye.